Okay, hopefully that fixes the sound over there. At least the microphone part. All right. So apologize out there, folks. On my broadcasting software was not picking up my microphone. So for those in Zoom, you're hearing the sound for sure. But
Yes,
broadcasting software-wise out there to my Rumble channel, Facebook page, and YouTube, probably didn't have any sound out there. So thank you for that, Diesel D's. I caught your message over there. So this petition is based on Article 4, Section 4 from the Constitution of the United States of America. And it says the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion. So that's what this is really about. But further, it says on application of the legislature, which is why we're going to Congress, the legislative branch, or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. Now, this is internal insurrection, not to be confused with the unlawful passage of Congress, a congressional act of the Violence Against Women Act in 1995. And in fact, the actual act of creating the Violence Against Women Act is internal insurrection, domestic violence. Kind of an oxymoron, but that's the truth. And this is the same process here. Within your state, your right to petition the legislature for the redress of grievances is exercised through the legislature. Now, there are other types of petitions like writs that come from the common law. Those are done through the judicial branch, such as writs of prohibition, writs of mandamus, writs of habeas corpus, okay, writs of quo warranto. Those are done through the judicial branch. Those are types of petitions that are done through the judicial. But when we're talking about for the redress of grievances or to guarantee that to protect us from foreign invasion or internal insurrection, that is done through the legislative branch, and I'll show you that here in just a little bit. So, I prepared this document. I am the petitioner, and working with Jonathan Townsend Alexander there from livebordernews.com. This is what spurred all this, because he's got a crap ton of evidence out there, video footage and documentation of what's going on down on the border, that this is a foreign invasion, and that Border Patrol is aiding and abetting in this, and there are other private organizations that are aiding and abetting supplies, food and water supplies, to the cartel, as well as the trafficking. Most of us are aware of the trafficking of men, women, and children, okay, and the drug known as fentanyl, okay. He's got evidence of all this stuff. If anybody else happens to have some evidence of that, please send that over to me at kirk@kirkslawcorner.com. If you got any evidence to support any of those three claims, feel free to send that over to me at kirk@kirkslawcorner.com. Okay? Now, prayer for relief here. This is what we're demanding, because this is under the prayer for relief. This is where we make our demands, right? Wherefore the petitioner and all undersigned demand the following relief, and hereby instruct our public servants to discharge their duties as instructed by the people. This is how we do this, folks. To do an investigation to verify claims 1 through 3. That's 1 through 3. Okay, those are statements of facts. Now, to declare war pursuant to Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 for foreign invasion. To call forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions pursuant to Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15. Okay? And that's pretty much it. I mean, this is how short and sweet petitions are supposed to be. Your basic statement of facts and your prayer for relief. So here's another document template out there for people to grasp the concept of the elements, the several parts or elements of a petition. These are supposed to be very short, clear, and concise. There's nothing huge here, right? Now, there's going to be basically a brief with an appendix that's going to be attached to this with all the evidence, right? But it's not part of the petition. Okay, and so these are all just blank pages here. And the way I had this done when I was down in Arizona was I was just getting people to sign this sucker. And we got several signatures on that particular document there. But I want to put it out there that this is going to be basically redone for digital signatures. So if you have previously signed the one that I had with me in Arizona, I may try to figure out how to attach that in part to this, but I would recommend going through the digital signature on this. And, everybody that we had contact with down there in Arizona will definitely get this memo. Okay. Now, we're going to go over to some law stuff that's behind all of this. If I can, it won't let me get there. All right. So, Article 4, Section 4, which I just read to you, okay? And I'm going to go in here to the C explanation so we can grasp even what the judicial branch has had to say about this. No, this petition is strictly for United States of America. This is not for Australia, it's not for Canada, it's not for anybody else. This is for the United States of America. So, Article 4, Section 4 is generally known as the Guarantee Clause. Through its terms, what's that? Terms and conditions of a contract of employment or holding of office. So, some of you may recall this called an emolument. What are the emoluments of the office? Any advantage, profit, or gain received due to one's position of employment or holding of office. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8. It is a contract or compact. It's a contract of employment. Okay? They're the servants. We are the masters. We have to instruct our servants. All right. The United States makes 3 related assurances to the states. A guarantee of Republican form of government. Now keep that one in mind, folks, because now that I've figured this stuff out, I'm going to be rocking, Derek and I talked about it, we're going to be rocking this stuff, and I'm going to be drafting up petitions doing the same thing for all sorts of grievances that we may have. Our Republican form of government is supposed to be guaranteed by Congress because Congress, pursuant to Article 4, Section 3, is supposed to create the organic law for the territory, setting up provisional government, temporary provisional government. That's one way that they guarantee the Republican form, the legislative branch, executive branch, and judicial branch, and that the people retain their power, their sovereignty. We're not sovereign citizens, we're sovereign people or sovereign man. Citizens are the public servants. Again, Law of Nations, Book 1, Chapter 19, subsection 212, which also includes that part in there about one of the qualifications to run for president is you must be a natural-born citizen, and they reference Law of Nations, subsection 212. That's exactly where it comes from, because our founders used the Law of Nations as international law to write this Constitution. Okay? Make no mistake. It's even in, and I showed Derek earlier, what about the Law of Nations? It's right here in the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8. We have to follow the Law of Nations, and the full title of that is the Law of Nations, or the Law of Nature, as applied to the characteristic and conduct of nations. See, the law of nature comes from God's law, and it comes first. It's at the root of all law. I don't want to get off topic here, but we got to understand that's the, and I literally mean understand. So, I'm very aware of the words that I'm using and what their meaning is. So when I use a specific word, it's on purpose. not because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Number 2, protection against foreign invasions, and upon request by a state, protection against internal insurrection or rebellion. Internal insurrection. It's right there. Now, I disagree with rebellion because that has nothing to do with Congress. But
if you wouldn't mind scrolling up on your document so they can see where you're reading from.
It's not showing?
You just scroll down on page... Prayer for Relief is where you're at. You can scroll up on your screen.
Oh, you know what? That's because...
No worries.
Thank you for that. The way Zoom, it doesn't share screen. I can only share particular window.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So this is over here for those on Zoom, law.cornell.edu, and this is actually the annotated Constitution regarding Article 4, Section 4, and this is the historical background on guarantee of Republican form of government. What does this actually mean, and what does the judicial branch interpret it and given their opinion on this stuff? Okay. So I'm giving you the background on what this means and how this has all worked and why it was written the way it was written. So an early version of the Guarantee Clause was among the resolutions of the Virginia Plan introduced at the Constitutional Convention by Edmund Randolph and attributed to James Madison. Okay, he's actually the drafter of the Constitution himself. Many people are aware of that, but James Madison and then William Penn, that's where we get Penn, is the one that actually wrote the final version. The resolution went through several formulations during the debates at the convention. During a key debate, Governor Morse objected to the resolution because blah, 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 ought to be guaranteed. Rather than cementing the existing laws of the states, the resolution had two objects: to secure Republican government and to suppress domestic commotions. Along with concerns about rebellions, delegates expressed fears that a monarchy might arise in a particular state and establish a tyranny over the whole United States. That's the internal insurrection. That's the domestic violence pursuant to Article 4, Section 4. That's what this is about. Okay? And that's essentially what happened in 1871 with the Reconstruction Acts, creating the corporation, because that's the way the monarchy works, is corporations. Remember the Virginia Company? Starting clear back in 1606 with the first charter of Virginia. Second charter, 1609. Third charter, 1611, 1612. Okay. Corporations. That's how that's all been done through the monarchy. And our founders, when they created our form of government and declared the new nation called America, we changed our ideology from a monarchy to a republic. But that's the object that's related to Article 4, Section 4 here. So, except for a brief period during Reconstruction, the authority granted by the Guarantee Clause has been largely unexplored. Well, don't you think it's time to explore this, folks? Don't you think it's time to claim and exercise this power? The Supreme Court and other federal courts have largely declined to hear legal challenges based on the Guarantee Clause because they present non-justable political questions, which means it's a political argument through the legislative branch or the executive, not the judicial. The judicial branch does not have jurisdiction, subject matter, period. So don't try to go to the judicial branch for any of this, because they don't have...
I have to interrupt one more time.
Yes,
I have
brother.
a bunch of people that can't get in on the Zoom, and they're wondering how they find your live stream on kirkslawcorner.com. Again, I apologize, but
no worries.
This is so important. Can you articulate that here? I'm live streaming from Facebook, and people are saying having a hard time hearing.
Can you see this?
Live. Yep, we can see it. Go ahead and pull it up. kirkslawcorner.com, guys.
Right here, there's an F. That's for Facebook page. Right here is for my Telegram channel. This is for Patreon. There's for YouTube, and there's for Rumble.
That way you guys can see a better image and hear better. Again, I apologize for interrupting. Please go ahead.
You're good. We want people to hear this and get on board with this and share, okay?
So again, kirkslawcorner.com, and you can go to his Facebook, his Telegram, and you can watch this being live streamed right now currently if you're having a hard time hearing from my Facebook streaming and stuff. Again, I'm not sure what's going on with the Zoom room, but my apologies. Please continue.
You bet, brother. Now we're going to go back and we're going to go into the next section there, the guarantee clause generally. In Luther versus Borden, the Supreme Court in 1849 held that questions arising in the guarantee clause are generally political and not judicial in character. So again, the judicial branch does not have subject matter jurisdiction. None. Zero. Okay? Because Article 4, Section 4 is very specific. It says legislature or executive. Now, for those of you that were paying attention back a couple years ago, when Attorney General Barr was in there, whether you like this man or not is irrelevant, what he said there was that the executive branch was going to start exercising powers that properly belong to the executive branch, and the judicial branch can just deal with it because they don't have a say in it. Again, that's part of our Republican form of government, and more specifically when we're talking about not the president, but commander-in-chief. There's a body of law outside of the Constitution. That law of nations. Go to the very, very last book and down the last chapter there, and you're going to see war and peace. Some of you may be very enlightened to read there what some of the powers of a commander-in-chief is. And some of this power actually originated in 1553 with the merchant marines. This is why the military is subordinate to the civil power. We have all this power. Been that way for a long time. Like 300 some years. Actually, 1500. We're talking like 500 years. Okay? Been that way for a long time. And remember, the militia is composed of the body of the people themselves. Every able-bodied male between the age of 17 to 64 is automatically in the unorganized portion of the militia. Duty bound. That's the reason why the Second Amendment reads the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, so that we can defend ourselves from tyranny. If our public servants become corrupt, internal insurrection, domestic violence, and overthrow the laws of its creation, the Constitution, which is created by the people, supposed to be, and war against the people. That's domestic violence. That's what's going on. Has been for a long time. So, guarantee you, I promise you, this is only the beginning. This is just the first petition to secure our borders. This is going to become a regular thing for me now. Now that I've figured this stuff out and how we're going to do this, how we're going to bring the people together. Because that was the problem before. I couldn't figure out how to do the digital signatures. So it was so hard to try and get signatures from everybody from all over. Well, now that's been remedied thanks to Derek's wife over there. So thank you, dear, for that. Greatly appreciate your skills and abilities over there and contributing to this. You know, and that's the thing is we have to come together. There's people out there that have skills that I don't have. I have no problem admitting that there's skills that I don't have. And bringing unity and working together to achieve a common goal. We're supposed to be Americans here, not Republicans or Democrats or Libertarians. We're Americans. This whole party thing actually causes division. Okay? So drop your party affiliation and learn how to be an American. And if you don't want to be American, you're free to leave. Okay? This is my nation called America here. And I'm going to defend it. I'm going to fight for it. Luther was formally in action for damages for trespass, but under the for trespass? That's almost like common law terms. It is. Under the rather unusual circumstances of Dorr's rebellion, pro-suffrage revolt that led to two competing claimants for Rhode Island's lawful government. Imagine that. The defendants in Luther justified their breaking and entering into the plaintiff's home under a declaration of martial law and based on the plaintiff's alleged participation in insurrection. The plaintiff questioned the authority and Republican character of the state government, alleging the defendants to be the insurrectionists. Thus, to adjudicate the trespass claim in Luther was in effect to decide which of two rival governments was the legitimate government of Rhode Island. See? Power of Congress, not the judicial. Now, Chief Justice Roger Taney held that the political branches of government, and not the federal courts, should decide such questions. It rests with Congress to decide what government is the established one in a state, as well as its republican character. Not the judicial, but yet Congress, the legislative branch. Luther further held that it rested with Congress to determine the proper means to fulfill the guaranteed protection of the states against insurrection. Although the court suggested that Congress might have empowered the judiciary to decide whether the federal government should intervene, Congress had instead authorized the president to call out the militia in the case of insurrection against a state's government. See, Article 4, Section 4 is very specific. The legislative or the executive, the legislature can't be convened. Judicial branch doesn't have any jurisdiction. None. And which part has been... Now, this is the key part here. It followed reason, Chief Taney, that the president must, of necessity, decide which is the government and which party is unlawfully arrayed against it. Okay, that's the fighting stuff. So we're arguing over a Republican form of government here, say, in Idaho. Well, that's a petition to Congress to see if they've fundamentally altered our form of government, subjecting us to a jurisdiction foreign to our form of government, repugnant to our law. That's in the Declaration of Independence. This is one of those duties that was bestowed upon Congress. Before he can perform the duty imposed upon him by an act of Congress, this political determination is not subject to judicial review. Now, I've covered this like a few years ago now. So, this is how we're supposed to be doing this stuff, and this is the proper power belonging to what branch of government, how we claim and exercise this power. That's why we're doing it the way we're doing it here. Now, this is where we're going to get into what I've explained before several years ago now with Executive Order 13818 and what's been going on since December 20th of 2017. During Reconstruction, the court in Texas v. White positioned itself that the president's action in establishing temporary state governments in the defeated Confederate states at the end of the Civil War was justified as an exercise of his powers as commander-in-chief. Not president, but commander-in-chief. Okay? Now, this is the two continuity of government directives that came right out of the gate. Okay, beginning of 2017. Make no mistake, we are at war. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm not beating around the bush here with this. This is for real. This is what's going on. We are at war. Why did Trump create the 1776 Commission? 1776? Revolutionary War, folks. We're in a second Revolutionary War. because the power to carry into effect the clause of guarantee is primarily a legislative power and resides in Congress. However, those arrangements were necessarily provisional. It was generally up to Congress to organize and recognize new Republican governments in these states. Article 4, Section 3. So that's pretty much, the gist of what's in here. And again, it's just reiterating more non-justable political questions. Non-justable, despite opportunities to revive the clause. It doesn't matter. The judicial branch does not have jurisdiction at all.
So what you're saying is expressing the grievance through the courts will be to no avail because they don't have the authority to make the decision.
Absolutely.
They don't have jurisdiction over that subject matter.
Yep.
So what Kirk is so brilliantly putting together and articulating to you guys is he is willing to donate and devote his time to his fellow countrymen and his country to create these petitions. It's up to you to read them and decide, yeah, I agree with this stance, and I'm more than willing to contribute my signature on this petition so Kirk can go before Congress and petition the Congress for we the people. This is more than any of your state senators or congressmen or legislative bodies have ever done. You actually have a man before you who's going to represent the people in the best way he knows how by following due process of law. Now, not everybody gets to go before Congress with their petition, but Kirk here is going to give it one hell of a whirl, and with our support and our contributions, I believe with the good faith of the Heavenly Father that we can get this man before Congress to articulate the danger, the real imminent peril that this nation is in right now if we don't do something. And as you guys seen, Kirk, if you could just put that petition back on the screen again for everybody.
You bet.
It's so simple a 6-year-old child can understand what he's doing. That's the brilliance in this. And this is part of the restoration process. And it's one of the avenues that we can take that's peaceful, sensible, and doesn't lead to violence.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt, go ahead. Reiterate it again because I'm live streaming at this point, and people are going, "What are we doing here?"
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you. This is the petition here that I've drafted up, and there are actually going to be a couple things I'm going to change here. So make sure that you read this in full when I get this up on the website before you sign. But there's not going to be a substantial change to this. Most of this is going to stay the same. I think I want to add a clause in here, or a demand for relief to actually round up and remove all those that have unlawfully entered this nation as a demand for relief, because we don't want to leave them lingering around.
Right. Before you got on, I was just watching a documentary on Venezuela and how they had released all of their prisoners guilty of murder, rape, sodomy, theft. They'd released them all from prison, and they're sending them here to the United States. Before they sent them to the United States, these people were actively trained in military warfare, guerrilla warfare, and how to use weapons. These military-age men coming over here, make no mistake about it, they're not fleeing their country from oppression because their women and children would be coming first. Their women and children would be the forefront, and they would be standing up for their nation and their beliefs, right? No. We got military-age men coming over here by the tens of thousands a day.
Yeah.
And Kirk has firsthand knowledge of that just recently coming back from the Arizona border. And if you could elaborate on that, what your constituents are doing down south on the border, and help people really understand the gravity of what we're actually, what's come to the front lines of this nation.
Well, let's just go ahead and take a look at it for my brother Jonathan Townsend Alexander. Go right over here to his website, livebordernews.com.
That's livebordernews.com for you guys having troubles hearing. And if you could just point out Jonathan so everybody knows. Put a smiley face to the name. And we can see your screen.
Okay. So he has all sorts of stuff on here. I mean, you could spend a little bit of time on here. And if you want to help donate there, he's got some donate links right here. Okay, Zelle and PayPal. He's been doing all this out of his own pocket. Okay.
Again, can you articulate what his website is again, please?
LiveBorderNews.com.
LiveBorderNews.com.
Again, he's been doing this out of pocket. He does have a small team of men that literally go camp out right on the border.
And what is he telling you that he's seeing on the border? Is he seeing women and children coming across the border predominantly, or is he seeing what exactly is he conveying to you? What are his general concerns?
Well, I mean, on a daily basis, he's seeing thousands of men come across the border down there. Men and women on occasion. One that was pretty gruesome there, which was the cartel was there, and they had seemed to be about a 6-year-old child. And they were taunting these guys down there and literally beheaded this 6-year-old right in front of them on the other side, taunting them, knowing that they couldn't really do anything about it because, well, policy says. I personally would have a hard time with that.
So what is happening when he detains these individuals? Can you explain the process that he's articulating and his frustration in protecting our borders? What exactly is happening despite all his efforts? Does he turn these people over to Border Patrol? Does he march them back across the river? What exactly is he able to do or capable of doing without violating some policy that would find him and his group in jail or incarcerated or facing charges? What is he forced to do when he wrangles up these people that are coming across the border illegally?
Say that again.
So when he catches people that are coming across the border, does he have to turn them over to Border Patrol?
Yes, they actually call Border Patrol, and this is what's pissing us off is calls Border Patrol, and Border Patrol comes and grabs them and takes them, processes them, then cuts them loose. Because that's what they're ordered to do.
20 years in the future, don't they? They give them a court date that's 7, 8, 9, sometimes 10 years out into the future, and turns them loose in the United States, right? Undocumented.
Yeah. And here's another
verification of who they really are, or where they're from, paramilitary training, or anything like that, right?
Yep. And here's another thing. They've set up an app for these guys to use. So that's why they're giving them phones, and they sign up on the app, and it gets them signed up for, upwards of like $2,000 a month. Sets them all up. And they're busting these guys in. In fact, while I was down there, we were coming back from Lake Havasu at one of our events late at night there. And as we were getting close to Jonathan's home, here's a bus come rolling into a little gas station. And there's a little SUV with some people standing out next to the SUV. The bus comes in and pulls up and parks right next to them. They go around, put their luggage down on the side, and 3 kids get up on the bus. No adults. So it's like right there, I got to witness child trafficking.
Right.
I guarantee you that wasn't their kids. John went over there and was recording and asked him, "Oh yeah, what's going on? Where are you guys coming from?" "Oh, from Las Vegas." "Really? You're in Kingman, Arizona. You're not from Las Vegas." And we watched the bus pull in.
How many interactions has he had? How many different nationalities has he come across when he's apprehending the people coming across the border illegally? I mean, are they predominantly just Hispanic?
No.
Or
No.
What kind of people is he encountering?
There's from what he was saying was up to upwards of 150 different places, 150 different countries these people are coming from.
Does that include China?
Yes.
Does it include Venezuela?
I believe so, yes.
So, literally, people, mostly predominantly military aged men from all over the world, could possibly be infiltrating this nation, working for United Nations, in the event that martial law is called and the military won't fire on American people. Do you think that's a reality, a plausible situation?
Well, go ahead and restate that again because I was reading a comment and I missed, and I don't want
No
to.
problem. Do you think it's a plausible scenario that these military aged men work for the United Nations, have an oath to the United Nations, and this might be a sinister plot to replace local law enforcement and military groups that won't fire on American citizens during a coup d'état, if you will, or an overthrow of the government? Is it plausible that these people that are coming over here are well trained militant men who will do exactly what nefarious actors wish them to do when the American law enforcement won't take away people's guns? Is it
You
too
know,
far of a reach to say that just by happenstance these people may be military trained and prepared to take up arms against the American people under the orders of the United Nations?
that's a very good question, and it's very plausible, is it not? I mean, it is a foreign invasion, and we are well know that the UN is corrupt, and this is trying to implement the one world government, the new world order, Agenda 21 and Agenda 23. Now what? Agenda 2030. Pardon me.
Well,
Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030.
In the Bolshevik revolution, they infiltrated the country with a bunch of foreigners
Yep.
who were willing to take orders and subvert from the law of the land in their nation. And that's how they overthrew the government, through chaos.
Yeah.
And so, for what Kirk is doing, and this is why I wanted him on here, was his peaceful resolution is so sensible that a 6-year-old can understand it. It is incumbent upon us to get behind one another, and if nothing else, put forward a valiant effort for a peaceful resolution, compelling and commanding Congress to do what needs to be done.
Yep.
And so I want to make perfectly clear what Kirk is putting together on this petition is not an act of aggression.
No.
It's foresight to say we see an inherent problem with what's transpiring and we demand immediate action and resolution. We as Americans will not stand idly by watching this nation get ripped apart. Billions, hundreds of billions being sent to Ukraine. It's now being disclosed that we are funding their entire government, their slush funds, their paychecks, everything. This has to come to an end. And the only way it does is when we sound off like we got a fucking pair of people. Now, Kirk is very refined in his language, and as you guys all know, I'm like 30 grit sandpaper to your butthole. I will hurt your feelings. But sometimes that's what fucking needs to happen. So it's a beautiful relationship between Kirk and I because he's very eloquent on how he speaks. And I am not.
Sometimes.
So there is, yeah.
Times and places.
This is so important, and I hope you guys can see why I called Kirk immediately and said, hey, I'm behind you 110%. What can I do? Where do you need me? How can I help you?
Yeah.
And so one of the other things I want to talk about, Kirk, is how can people help you? How can people contribute to what you're doing? Because this takes hours of study. It takes hours and hours. It takes a lot of travel. You have to go down and see it with your own eyes so you can testify before Congress with firsthand perfected knowledge of the atrocities that you're seeing and the blatant disregard for the Constitution and derogation of the law. So we need to be able to make sure that we can contribute. I don't care if it's 10 pennies or $10 a month. I want to make sure that when you have a call to action to go somewhere to visualize these things or see these things with your own organs, your own visual organs, so you can testify before Congress with firsthand perfected knowledge of what you saw with firsthand knowledge. So how do we help you, help us, and help this beautiful nation?
Your wife there was very helpful this morning in possibly setting up, like what Jonathan's got here, Zell, and I've been kind of holding off on all that stuff because I've read some of their terms and conditions, but I think this is going to be a little bit different because this is going to be on behalf of the people. So
right.
This would be something like what was the one like not GoFundMe, but what's the other one?
There's a number of
the Christian one. But
so in other words, we'll start working on that with you. There are people on this call. There are people on the live stream. We can all work together and help get this done.
Yeah.
As you can see, Kirk is intricately tied to a number of vigilant Americans who are on the ground, on the front lines. And not only that, he isn't expressing or talking about his private connections with people that are deep-seated within the military, as well as Congress and Senate and the House of Representatives as well. There are good people trying to do good things right now, and we need to support them as best we can. So in the near future, all of that will be available on Kirk's Law Corner, where there will be a place where you can donate, contribute, help. His future petitions. Kirk, we haven't talked about this yet, but I would love to have you on. Every time you have a new petition put together, let's make it a point to have one of these free live Zooms. Again, this is for all of us. It's not, it's selflessness. It's not about selfishness. It's selfless. And in turn, it is selfish because we really say we're doing it for everybody else, but we're really doing it for ourselves. But what's good for us is good for you. We're just wanting the rule of law to be reinstated and maintained. And it takes vigilant men and women of America to do so. It teaches, it takes going back and learning civics to enforce these things. And as a community, we can do this peacefully.
Yeah.
And I think Kirk agrees with me on that. The best resolution for everybody and all involved is peaceful.
Yes.
Blessed be the peacemakers.
That's right.
And, so Kirk, can you go through that document one more time? Just read it and show people how simple it is, so they can share this with their friends, their family. In the next couple of days, possibly Monday or Tuesday, this will be on Kirk's Law Corner. I'm proud to say I'm going to be one of the first few people to sign this. If you're not a voter, go ahead and sign it anyway. If you're an American, look, Kirk expressed that you have to be politically, you have to, be a voter or whatever. I'm telling you right now, the Constitution never said you had to be a voter to go ahead and express your grievance to the Congress.
Well, to claim and exercise political power, you have to be one of the people. And this is part how they have it set up right now, is to establish you're a resident and a registered voter is how you gain political power, because political rights don't come naturally. They don't come from the laws of nature. Okay, you have to be essentially, I hate to say this word, but a member of the civil society, but it's not a member as an elected official, because our republic, the way our founders set up our republic, we're self-governed, and all the power is inherent in the people. So we have three statuses here in America. We have free inhabitants, the inhabitants. Then you have the people, which is a different kind of citizen, and you'll want to read, you don't believe me, read for yourself. Law of Nations, Book 1, Chapter 19, subsection 213. 212 defines what a citizen is, and that's a member of a civil society who is bound to perform certain duties and is subject to its authority. Read Article 6, Clause 3 again. It says, the senator, the aforementioned senators, representatives, and all the members of the legislature, executive, and judicial, both state and federal, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. That's a citizen. Okay? And those are the only three statuses we have here in America. None of this American state national and all that garbage. That's all fraud, and that's not our statuses here. Maybe try to talk about your national and all that garbage. You better read what you're reading. First, you're reading corporate bylaws of a bankrupt corporation dissolved. But it's all from the code. So if you changed your status to some sort of a national, you just put yourself back in under the Roman civil law, the code, the bankrupt corporation. You didn't correct your status. I am man, creation of God. How do I correct that status? There's no such thing.
It's already perfect, Kirk. You can't correct something that's already been perfected by the Creator himself.
Bingo.
So, again, can you share that document? Just read
Yeah.
it real quick.
Let me
so people
let me touch
understand.
on this real quick about the donation
Go ahead.
stuff. Patreon. It's the only way I've been doing this for a while now because PayPal took me down, Cash App, Venmo, which is essentially PayPal for the iPhone.
They say go woke, go broke, right?
Right. So I have it set it up there. This all goes through my business stuff here. And you can set it up for a one-time thing and just cancel. One-time donation, whatever you want. Or keep it as a reoccurring. It's up to you to cancel that. I have Tier 1, Tier 2 set up for $5 a month, $10 a month, Tier 2. Now, if you want to get in on Wednesday night workshop, where I'm teaching some of this stuff in the private, because a lot of the stuff we can't even talk about out here. Talk about some pretty good stuff there in the private, and get more down to a one-on-one type thing with people. Now, Tier 4 is if you want my private one-on-one time. That's for those folks that want my private time. There you go. The other way is to send whatever you want over to the office. Okay? That's 6477 West Fairview Avenue, Suite C as in Charlie, Boise, Idaho 83704. Okay?
So, again, if we could just revisit that document one more time so people can understand. And look, this isn't a one-time deal. Kirk is going to continue to stay vigilant and continue to put out more petitions to the Congress. And, he needs all the help he can get, all the support, all the prayers. What he's doing is dangerous. This isn't work for the faint of heart. He's a Marine. And once a Marine, always a Marine. This man took an oath. He takes this oath very seriously. We've had deep conversations. Somebody asked how long Kirk and I have been speaking earlier. We've been speaking since about 2016, 17. And it wasn't until Kirk had a Zoom call with me and my mother was sitting in the room that she finally understood what I was talking about, because the way I expressed it is different than the way Kirk expresses things. But it made sense to her. So I'm not everybody's cup of tea, nor do I want to be. And Kirk feels the same way. Hey, I explain things in a very simplistic manner. You go way off the deep end there. And we agreed to agree on that subject matter. I study as a shit ton of different facets and jurisdictions, as does Kirk. But he wants to stick to the basics. And that's why I love this man so much. It's basic, elementary shit, guys. You guys should have been learning this in grade school and elementary school. They took civics out of the school because they didn't want you to know how you could assert yourself and affect positive change.
So there's a comment out on my YouTube here. What about common law freeman, like what was being done by the Montana freemen? Okay, what did I just say? I am man, creation of God. Can anybody rebut that?
Nope. Show me where you got the jurisdiction to lord over me and how statutes, codes, city ordinances...
Well, we're talking about creation, the law of creation. God created mankind. Did you have any evidence to the contrary?
And the Congress recognizes the Bible as the law.
Yep. At the root of all law. So, there's the thing. What would I change my status to? I am man, creation of God. When Jesus was asked, well who are I am?
If you
That's it. I am.
Your status, you can only diminish it. You can't improve it because it's already been perfected.
Right.
Time. You correct your status by your actions and behavior. If you no longer want to be recognized as a thief, stop stealing shit that doesn't belong to you. Status correction. There you go.
Yep. All you have to do is declare it. That's what I do in my my notice of special appearance for court stuff. I am man, creation of God, of lawful age, of sound mind, one of the people of the territory of Idaho. I have had nobody rebut that.
Nope.
And I do it as a verified document, so it turns it into something that is statements of facts under oath. And the only way to counter that, you got to do your counterclaims, and that's got to be signed under oath. Signed, sworn, and subscribed. Do you think they would do that? No, they won't, because they have no evidence to the contrary. I can crack open the Bible, and the Bible says I am a creation of God. God created man, kind. What kind of man are you? Are you man or man with a womb? Womb man. Because that's the only two sexes that are out there. So you're either of sound mind, possessing logic and reason, and shall come to a reasonable conclusion based in reality that God created man and womb man, or you are insane. And per the law of nature, hold on. And per the law of nature, one of the 6 primitive laws of nature, we are to shun the insane. This is black and white. You're either of sound mind or you are insane. There's no in between.
Amen.
Okay? All right, so
the 118th Congress of the United States of America. Again, can you explain why the structure of the top of the document is so important in the italics and what
it's
font you're using for it?
diploma font. Okay? And this is how they do documents in parliamentary practice, in diploma font. And who it's addressed to, this is technically speaking called the caption portion of the document.
And I notice it's not addressed to the United States. It's addressed to the United States of America.
That's right.
It says, to the Honorable General Assembly, pursuant to the Constitution of the United States of America, Article 4, Section 4. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union, not the union, in this union, a republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislator or of the executive when the legislator cannot be convened against domestic violence. Explain domestic violence to him, please.
So, pursuant to Article 4, Section 4, that's that domestic violence is actually internal insurrection. They try to throw that or rebellion in there, but remember, this is supposed to be for them. It's for us, of the people, by the people, for the people. This is to protect us. You know, like the Declaration of Independence says, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, receiving their just powers under the consent. Okay? Got to have consent. This is how we give the consent. Okay? We create the people. The General Assembly is composed of the body of the people, and that is the sovereign body politic. Law of Nations, Book 1, Chapter 1, Section 4. So this is the General Assembly, which leads over to that national-assembly.net. The only ones that are doing this stuff lawfully is reassembling government de jure. Right now, it's all been government de facto. Even, I hate to burst some people's bubbles and red pill you, but even the first Constitution of 1789 was a fraud. It was the first bankruptcy. Many people are not even aware that that's actually what happened in history, but that's the truth.
But it reads on further to say the humble petition of Kirk Pendergrass. What does that mean? Does that mean that all of us that sign are irrelevant?
No. Humbly sheweth relator on behalf of, or best offer, no, all similarly situated, and all undersigned.
Beautiful. So that includes everybody who signs this, correct?
Absolutely.
It's just
you're demanding
this petition themselves.
Right?
They are now party to the action.
Yep. I'm just relating your power. You're basically vesting me with the power to present this to Congress and stand up for America and everybody who signs this.
Your family, your cousins, your sisters, your uncles, your aunts, you're granting your authority, your sovereign immunity, your power to Kirk to bring this forward and bring it before the Congress. To be a representative of we the people and the law, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. This is so powerful, and that's why I said what he's doing is dangerous. People get Epstein and Clinton for less. Statements of fact.
Right.
There is a foreign invasion Does anybody else disagree with that right now? I see a fucking foreign invasion of a magnitude that is so appalling and grotesque. It rips the very essence of my soul and tears at my heart. Because people are being harmed. Both the people that are being displaced from the place that they once lived and are nationals of, and our people as well. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about what's happening. This is an invasion. If you're waiting for Fox News, or CNN, ABC, NBC to tell you that, fuck, you're going to be there a minute. Because they won't say it until the shit show's over. We're just going to call it like we see it. There is a foreign invasion happening on the southern border. It's not just the southern border. We're being infiltrated through Canada. We're being infiltrated through the waters over there next to Cuba and Florida. So he may be expanding that statement to cover all of that, because it's more than just the border in Arizona. All right? Happening on the southern border between Mexico and the United States of America, where men, women, and children are unlawfully entering into several states, including California, New Mexico, Nevada, Arizona, Texas. You notice how he doesn't say state of New Mexico, state of Nevada. He's talking about the sovereign nations, the sovereign states, the union of states.
Mm-hmm.
He's being very specific. And Texas, which Border Patrol and other organizations are aiding in and abetting as well. This is a criminal act. There's trafficking of men, women, and children happening on the southern border between Mexico and the United States of America. Not the United States, which is just a 10 square mile area of Washington, D.C., known as the District of Columbia, ladies and gentlemen, which is the territory.
That's all been foreclosed on.
The United States of America, the Union of States.
Yeah.
Where men and women and children are unlawfully entering into several states, including California, New Mexico, Nevada, Arizona, and Texas. He can literally name all 50 states because they're being shipped everywhere. And nobody is keeping track of where these people are coming from and where they're going to. Who are being bought, sold, raped, and murdered. We have no idea if these people are enlisted and recruited by guerrilla militants or United Nations. This is a fucking problem. 3, there's a drug known as fentanyl that is unlawfully imported into the United States of America without going through any ports of entry. Okay? Mm-hmm. This isn't just people coming across the border. These are CIA operatives and things of that nature moving a massive influx of very, very cheap product, chemically laden shit that poses a real danger to our society, our peace, our posterity.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stress to you enough how important it is for you to become, if you so choose, a signatory to this and say, I'm putting my foot up your ass, I'm done being fucking nice, you're going to do your job or we're going to fucking remove you people.
Yeah.
And we will take office. We will fill the seats. We will govern ourselves accordingly.
So hold on. So the question is why isn't all the other states in there? Because they're not border states.
I'm glad you brought that up, Kurt.
And read what it says here. It says hold on, brother. Let me speak. What it says as it is written here is that there is a foreign invasion happening on the southern border between Mexico and the border states. Okay, the ones that are directly on the border. And what we're asking, which is what we're going to get into next, is what are we asking here? What are we demanding? Okay. We're demanding to do an investigation to verify those claims, which we're going to supply a significant amount of evidence, and we'll probably have to go testify. Okay, that's a given. So that's in part what we're asking here is to help support this, because I'm going to have to fly out there, drive out there, something. I'm going to have to take my butt out there, and I'm going to have to stand before Congress and present this evidence. I'm going to have to speak on behalf of the American people and present this. Okay, and that's going to cost money. So I'm praying to God that He's provided. He's been providing for me since 2017. I gave up my finances to God, so I have no doubt in God's ability to provide. So I'm just putting that out there, that's what this is going to be about, and what you're going to support here when you support me or Jonathan is to help cover the cost of going out there, staying in motels, and presenting this to Congress and demanding this relief right here. To declare war pursuant to Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 for a foreign invasion. To call forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions pursuant to Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15. These are all directly from the Constitution. This is exactly what the powers of Congress are, as it is, again, the Declaration of Independence receiving their just powers. This is a power that's delegated to Congress, and this is the process to instruct our representatives to discharge the duties of their office and do this. But we get to make that demand.
Power, Kirk? Who granted them that power? Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15. Was it we the people?
We the people.
That authority?
We the people delegated that authority.
And don't we have a right to amend our government anytime we see fit, especially in the event of a foreign invasion?
Yes, absolutely.
You guys see how powerful this is? Why I wanted to have Kirk and Kirk's Law Corner on today with us, speaking to us with firsthand perfected knowledge of what he is seeing and the atrocities he's witnessing. We can get behind this. It is a peaceful way to find a resolution.
Yep.
And I think we have a wonderful spokesman here by the name of Kirk Pettigras. Everybody says former Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. He's a Marine to the day he goes.
That's right.
And he took his oath seriously. And he's on the front lines. This is a man you can get behind. This isn't some political running bullshit speech. I'm here to tell you this man is doing it. And he has no financial incentive at all. There's no gain here for him financially. The gain is in peace of mind.
Yeah. I'm not trying to make money off of this, folks. I'm trying to restore our republic and defend our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness that's been unlawfully taken from us. Period.
So it reads on to say, we the petitioners, that's all of us. That's everybody who cares to put their signature on the dotted line. And all, hold on, there's a comment in the way. Scroll up a little bit for me if you would, bud. And all undersigned humbly submit this petition on the 22nd day of September in the year of our Lord, 2023. Now on the DocuSign document, right below that will be a place for you to put your email. It'll be a place that it will automatically pre-fill the date. If it doesn't, go ahead and enter it. And then you can actually physically sign it, or you can capture an image of your signature and post it to it. And bam, you're done. Yeah. And you can print this off. You could show it to other people and talk about it in your community. It's going to take our communities to pull together.
Yes.
And look, there's no way that this document is going to be subjected to some type of voter or signature fraud. Okay? This is, if you want to sign it, sign it. Don't sign for your neighbor. Don't sign for your daughter. Don't sign for your auntie. Let them be the decider of what they will affix their signature to.
Yep.
This is something every American can get behind. And it's something that needs to be done in a very efficient manner. So like I said, by Monday or Tuesday, I'll be working with Kirk here. We will find a way to make this happen so you guys can be a signature to it. So stay tuned to our Facebook post, Kirk's Law Corner, so on and so forth. As soon as I have the link, I'll post it on my Facebook wall. I'll do videos about it. Let's get this shit kicked into gear.
Oops. Like I said, there's a few things that I'm going to have to critique on this.
Now, Kirk, we talked about it earlier, about getting other people in the 50 different unions of state to create their own petition for their own state, and you would be happy to volunteer your time, as would I, to review the petition to make sure that clerical errors are removed and that it's following the state constitutional guidelines and the federal constitutional guidelines and the Bill of Rights and the Law of Nations, to help each state do this as well.
Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'll offer to draft up the petition for the states, because Article 1, Section 10, which we can go to that right away here. Let me just pop that sucker up, because the states also have this individual power only for foreign invasion, right? So that can be done. Whoa, what did I do with that?
And again, that power was delegated by we the people to the state. Is that correct?
Reserved to the people. See the 10th Amendment. This is a power that's reserved to the people always, because remember, the military is subordinate to the civil power. And when we look at Article 1, Section 10 here, limitations on the states, right here, Clause 3. This is Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution for the United States of America. No state shall, with the consent of Congress, lay any duty or tonnage, keeps troops or ships of war in time of peace, enter into any agreement or compact with another state or with a foreign power, or engage in war, unless actually invaded, or in such imminent dangers will not admit of delay. So, I think we ought to really get something going with some of these border states. And then, of course, we had the Posse Comitatus Act. And technically speaking, this goes all the way down to the sheriff. And then, of course, I would say all the way up. Instead of saying down, this is up. Because the federal government was created after the states. And the sheriff was created before the state. Because the sheriff comes from the common law, directly from elected by the people themselves to defend the people within the territory of the county.
So even you can take this to your sheriff and say, hey, get on board. We want to know where your allegiance and alliance stands. Are you willing to sign this? Re-election's coming up real soon, Skipper. You better find out which side of the fence you ride, my friend, and show us your loyalty.
Yeah, I'll let me see here.
Because nothing in this document can be construed to be a form of domestic terrorism or violence. We are simply stating this is the law, follow it, enforce it, or show us where you stand so we can remove you.
Let me show you a little something here. Yes, wait, it's going to open up right over here. In Arizona, see, I study all sorts of stuff all over the place, not just Idaho stuff. So, powers and duties of the sheriff, and under your Arizona revised statutes, or the code. A, the sheriff shall preserve the peace. Number 1 duty. 2, arrest and take before the nearest magistrate for examination all persons who attempt to commit or have committed a public offense. Public offense. But what does it say? Before the nearest magistrate. It doesn't say take him to jail.
Nope.
Something you might want to read. Put your sheriffs on notice, folks. But what is this? Prevent and suppress all affrays. Breaches of the peace. Gee, that's common law. Assaults and batteries. Riots and insurrections that may come to the what? Knowledge of the sheriff. Attend all courts except to take care of the county jail, including the county. Where is it? Right here. B. The sheriff, in executing the duties prescribed in sections A, paragraphs 1 through 4 of this section, may command the aid of as many what? Inhabitants. See, there's one of them statuses of the county as the sheriff deems necessary. Posse Comitatus, folks. Again.
Explain the Posse Comitatus for people who it's foreign to them. They've never heard of it. They don't understand it, because I studied the Posse Comitatus back in 2016, and people were very leery of it.
Yeah.
The elders didn't want to talk about it. It was a time that
you remember back in the old and western days there, outside the sheriff's office there, he'd have the wanted $500 reward. Okay? And you got 5 guys come up there, 5 men come up there and say, okay, we'll go, dead or alive, bring him to justice, whatever. So the sheriff can deputize those 5 men for this specific thing, to go get this man and bring him to justice. And then you get the $500 reward. So this is Posse Comitatus. The sheriff has the duty, the power to deputize. You guys hear them jets going over my house?
Uh-huh. So again, it's not about vigilantism. It's a duty incumbent upon the people to facilitate, aid, and assist the law and enforce the law, correct? It's not a matter of, anti-government or anything. It's a duty. Yeah.
So this the thing is, people say, oh, I don't know Kirk, you don't know what you're talking about saying inhabitant. But yet, here it is, and same thing in my Idaho for Ada County Sheriff. It's almost exact verbiage. And it uses the word inhabitants. It's almost like, I don't know, that's the law. Like from the Law of Nations, Book 1, Chapter 19, subsection 213. We're supposed to be the inhabitants,
So on
not
Tuesday,
an American state national.
on Tuesday or even before Tuesday, you will have this document notarized, signed,
Yep.
and we'll work over the weekend to make sure it's set up on your website. This again, when it's set up on your website, they'll be able to sign this for free, right? There's some
Oh,
people
yeah.
that just
There will be absolutely no fee for this, folks. I'm doing this out of my own free will. If you want to donate, great. Thanks. I greatly appreciate that. And I would welcome any donations to support this. But
if the donation is not set up by that time, ladies and gentlemen, you can still subscribe to Kirk's Law Corner, and that helps and contributes as well. But we will do our best by Monday or Tuesday to have that donation set up as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it's a fucking penny, guys. Nobody's sniding here, and we have to do something, and we have to take our equitable wherewithal and put it in people who really give a fuck about this nation, because we're squandering it away with our belief in the political system the way it is now. We're squandering it away. $140 billion and less than $700 was given to people in Lahaina in Hawaii. But $140 billion was squandered on midget hookers and strippers in the Ukraine. All right? It's not an exaggeration. It's not bullshit. These people are buying exotic sports cars and living a life of luxury, flying cocaine around on CIA fucking planes on your dime and your fucking time, trying to convince you they're broke and don't have what it takes to support the American people. Enough is enough. And so this is a step in the right direction. I firmly believe it in my heart. You know, when Snow Tiger sent this over to me, I immediately called Kirk. Like I said, Kirk is a busy man, and he and I don't answer everybody's calls or answer everybody's emails.
Yeah.
But when I saw who it was, I gave him a jingle, and we played phone tag for half a fucking day. But by God, what was it? 1, 2, 3 in the morning, we finally got a hold of each other. The man never sleeps, because when you know this stuff, you can't afford to fucking sleep.
Yeah, it's sleep's a commodity sometimes.
Yeah, that's no shit.
I'll tell you, folks. You know, I've spent a lot of years now, 16-hour days plus sometimes a couple of hours of sleep, back up and at it again because my brain won't shut off. You know, I finally calmed down a little bit. I kind of get somewhat regular sleep, but man, I'll tell you, last night just thinking about what's going on here, and then I had this epiphany. It's like, well, wait a minute. If we're going to set up, figure out a way to do digital signatures, I can start banging out petitions for each state and putting them out here online. And we just got to find a petitioner from the state who will present the petition to Congress, because I'm in Idaho. I can't present a petition in Arizona because I'm not one of the people of Arizona. So, but I'm thinking, holy crap, this could just blow up into everything. You want to shut down CPS? Let's do a petition to shut down CPS.
Amen.
And all it takes is the majority of the people of the territory to say, we no longer want this in our republic. We are abolishing this. We are instructing you, and this is the prime time to be doing this because the next legislative session is coming up. So this would give them a precursor, a warning of what's coming, and to get prepared to start abolishing this stuff in this next legislative session.
So what happens if Congress chooses to ignore this? What's the next step? The military intervenes, don't they? The executive branch,
the commander-in-chief, which is Trump, regardless to anybody's opinion or belief out there, Trump is still the commander-in-chief. There is no president.
It was pretty evident watching his motorcade.
Involuntary bankruptcy, June 20th, 2020. The United States Inc. Corporation is done. Go look at Google Maps. D.C. does not exist anymore. That land was a foreign occupied territory. Nobody's been in that White House, except for workers.
Yard maintenance guys.
Right. Setting up the gallows, maybe. Going in the underground tunnels and stuff that people like Obama and the Clintons were having their little hot dog and pizza parties down there underneath the White House. This is why Melania Trump would not sleep in the White House. Okay? These sick frickin' pedophiles out there.
So it's time to grab the reins of this horse that has run awry and slow him down and get him back on the correct track, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. It's time for we the people to come together and claim and exercise our power to alter, reform, or abolish anything at any time we deem it necessary.
That is repugnant to the Constitution or the laws and treaties enacted.
Well, it could even be the entire Constitution. If we decide, we the people, a majority of the people come together and sign a petition to abolish the Constitution itself.
We can do a petition for term limits, for fuck's sake. A petition on term limits would flush the toilet every 4 fucking years.
There are term limits there. It's already in the Constitution for term limits. Just not in the concept of what people think as a term limit. The problem is what's that? That E word, and don't say it because I'm on YouTube and stuff. The E word there. And then the F word, fraud. So, the thing is, I'll tell you, fraud has been around as long as the E word's been around. Okay? I mean, why would it be in Lex Parliamentary Americana about an election petition? I'll say the word there. From clear back from 1856, talking about, what? Yeah, it's been around that long, folks. As long as its elections have been around.
Yep.
Okay? So let's not play stupid here and think that this is just a one-of-a-time thing. No. Why would there be a thing called election petitions?
Go ahead and write this down, ladies and gentlemen. KirksLawCorner.com. And like I said, I'm going to blast this on every Telegram group I have, Facebook group, everything that I have about these petitions. And from now on, when he's got a petition, I'm certain that he will contact me. I will periodically check up with him, and we're going to be working hand to hand on this. It's time to do something. We can't just count on one guy to help us all out. We have to pull together and work as a unit. Mm-hmm. We have to be efficient. And I love how simplistic this document is. Is it the end all be all? Maybe, maybe not. But we don't know unless we fucking try. All right?
Well, we got to follow due process of law. We can't just sit here and exhaust our remedies. The letter of the law.
That's right.
Now, again, back to your question. Well, what do we do next? We go to the executive. Well, let's say none of them do anything. Then we get back down to the sheriff, right? And we do the petition to the state level, which I kind of want to do this all simultaneously. So definitely for Arizona, I'm going to be busting one out and giving that to Jonathan. He's going to be the petitioner. We just talked about this last night. So he's going to be the petitioner for that, for Arizona. So I'm going to need somebody from New Mexico and Texas and that kind of stuff to present this petition, be the petitioner. And, both the legislature and the governor, hey, get off your duff and do something here. We're instructing you. We're demanding that you perform your duties here. And then in the end, this all becomes evidence that we gave them notice, because what's the first fundamental principle of due process of law, brother?
Notice and opportunity.
Right. So we're going to give them notice. We're going to afford them the opportunity to do the right thing. And if they don't, again, the people, the militia is composed of the body of the people themselves. That's Virginia Declaration of Rights, June 12, 1776, as the theoretical foundation of all government. That is the document, not the Declaration of Independence.
I read an article about 5 years ago that said if just 10% of the Americans would express their grievance and write it down and put it in the mail and send it to Washington, D.C., it would literally shut down the government, because they don't have what it takes. And that's just 10% of the people. Think about it. We're hundreds of thousands, if not millions strong at this point, all being unified by the systemic corruption that we're seeing. Nothing stops you from preparing a petition to the Congress and saying, we've had fucking enough. Don't use my language, because obviously try and use something a little more like Kirk's got. I'll write my own petition.
Even in Lex Parliamentary Americana, it specifically states in there that you can't use any language that's basically derogatory to them. right? We have to come in there, remain in honor, and say, look, here's what the law says. I'm following due process of law. I'm instructing you to do this. And that's it, right?
And the
Because
next thing
we
that
have to
comes
pretend
is,
like they don't even know.
the next thing that comes is a petition to them for dereliction of duty, unjust enrichment, theft by way of false promise. If they don't follow the orders of the people, they get removed, people. Their assets that they've amassed and their wealth that they've amassed by defrauding the American people and stealing from them all gets usurped. And that's what the Executive Order 13818, 13903, all those executive orders. By the way, executive orders 1200 through like 1300, I believe most of those are Trump's. You know, so pay attention to that. Those executive orders are still on the fucking books, and we need to utilize them while we can, because at any time, a sitting alleged president can remove those executive orders or change them. Thankfully, Trump's administration was very intelligent and put it in the executive orders. So if they remove them, they really show who they are. They show their true colors, which would cause civil unrest. What do you mean you don't care about children and human trafficking and the trafficking of persons and our elders? That would cause a problem. So he can't, Biden's administration hasn't even attempted to remove that executive order because it would show them for exactly who the fuck they are. So it was very ingenious in the way that executive orders were laid out. Some of Trump's executive orders were immediately removed, but you'll notice the ones that weren't, the ones that would have just awestruck the American people. For example, taking the wealth from drug cartels and human traffickers. That would have pissed people off to such a degree it would have started a war instantaneously. They did not touch Executive Order 13818. And so it's important. With that said, Kirk, is there anything else you want to say in closing before you open up for comments? Is there any other important, eloquent points that you need to make? I think it's pretty cut, clear, and dry. I think the people are seeing the reality of the situation, seeing your heart and your good faith effort put forward, and showing that you're a man of action. Is there anything else you want to add on that before you open up the floor?
Just that I really want to blow this wide open with political power, the right to alter, reform, or abolish anything and anytime we deem it necessary, and start claiming and exercising this power following due process of law. And like I said, now that your wife so kindly educated me a little bit on digital signature stuff, this needs to just go like wildfire, folks. Other than that,
Yep.
Thank you all for being here, and we'll go ahead and open this up for some Q&A now. Be very forewarned here about political power, the petition stuff, specifically this stuff right here. Don't go off in left field and talking about something on October 4th and all that stuff. Keep the
Or your
subject
own
matter
personal
is about
cases.
this stuff here. Okay?
It's about the petition, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your questions geared to the petition, how you can participate, how you can contribute, things of that nature.
Yep.
We're not here to talk about your private endeavors and affairs right now.
Right.
Our nation is in a crisis, and we are here called upon by the Heavenly Father to do this. And so let's keep it subject specific, meaning all about the petition, what you can do in your state to start your petition, things of that nature. Go ahead, Kirk.
The way I want to do this is put your question in the chat. You know, because I know I'm familiar with this, folks. I've been doing broadcasting stuff for 6 years now. I'm not just going to willy-nilly let somebody come in here and take over. So first, put your question over there, and then we'll kind of see who it's from and allow you to speak for a minute or two, and then we'll work it that way, all right?
That sounds good. Kirk, if you want me to read
Do you have anyone
chat.
in Wisconsin yet? Well, let me... Oh, that's Jeremiah, the one that's got his hand up. Let's see, how do I do this? Ask to unmute. Okay.
There you go.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, I'm a new resident. I'm not resident, inhabitant, I guess, to Wisconsin. So I was just curious if you had anybody here yet to start anything. I mean, I've got a little bit of spare time, not much, because I work 20 hours a week, but that allows me to still make full-time pay and then do extracurricular activities on my time off.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be in Wisconsin the next 2 weeks, but after that, when I get back to Wisconsin, I'm here semi-permanently. So, I mean, if there's anything I can do, if you don't have anybody else here yet, maybe there's something I can do to start something, or if you do have somebody here, let me know. Maybe I can get in touch with them. I'm in the northern part of Wisconsin, so
Yeah.
kind of, about 3 or 4 hours from everywhere in Wisconsin.
Okay. So one thing that I'm going to put out there is those that want to get involved with General Assembly. This is how we really do the political power. Is the national-assembly.net. These guys are the ones clear back to 2012 with Carl Miller. You know, the real law stuff that have to declare and how the General Assembly is formed clear back to 1643. So that may be something that I would direct people to for this kind of stuff. When it comes to doing the petition stuff, absolutely. But we're gonna have to have separate conversations about that and what it is we want to do the petition on, right? And I've already kind of tried to do this once before, last year, and I created. If you look on my kirkslawcorner.com website, I created all these channels for every single state on Telegram, and I said, okay, read Lex Parliamentary Americana. Pick one section out of there, and I got one man to do it. So if you don't want to read, you don't want to learn, you don't want to study, and you don't want to participate, then I'm done. I'm not going to do anything about it. But if you're serious about it, then you're going to have to read. You're going to have to study. You're going to have to learn, because I can't hold everybody's hand when it comes time to go in there. You're going to have to know the law. You're going to have to know this stuff in order to do it. So there's the conundrum. So Jeremiah, if you're serious about that, I'd highly recommend going to my website, go to the library tab, down Lex Parliamentary Americana, and start reading. Okay.
The other thing is participate in his Monday night lives. What time does that happen? Kirk's Law Monday night?
Yeah, Monday Night Law. Monday night is 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And it's on my 4 channels there that I have listed on kirkslawcorner.com.
So yet again, another avenue where you can come and become educated. And so if you don't have the time to read, or you have reading comprehension issues, this is another method to become educated and to support your fellow brothers and sisters here in America. And for those of you in other countries, look, every country has a fucking republic. This whole thing that the America is the only one that has, our republic is unique, granted, but there's a Republic of China, there's a Republic of Russia. Every country has a republic. Learn the laws and enforce them. Remember, you're not practicing law, you're merely enforcing what has already been well established. So, it's time for the people of the world to stand up, because these elitists are destroying the very fabric of morality within all nations, not just this one. And we have to stand up and do something. Go ahead, next question.
Well, so the thing is with the petition stuff, it's going to be on me on this petition, folks. All I'm looking for is signers out there. Okay, so don't worry about where it's going to get, how it's going to get there, or any of that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's what do we got? Did Eric ask a question over there? I thought I saw.
No, not yet. Eric's got his hand up currently. I can see that.
He said he can help with New Mexico to be your help with the petitioner.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Well, how you help the petitioner is by signing the petition after you read it, comprehend it, understand it, and know that it's true, accurate, correct, not misleading, and that there's no ill will, malice, or ill intent behind it. We're simply asking that they follow the fucking law. That's it.
There's a comment out here. There's supposedly a General Assembly already established as American state nationals. You've thought about accessing them. Listen, folks, I've been studying this stuff, trying to find the lawful one for many years. Anna Von writes in her American state nationals, and again, there's only 3 statuses here in America. You have the inhabitants, the people, and citizens. Where in there did you hear American state national? That's all SMU shit made up.
Mentioned in the Law of Nations.
What?
National, the only place it's mentioned is actually in the Law of Nations.
No. That's false. It is not in the Law of Nations. National comes from United States Code, and the word national didn't become into existence as a noun until 1878, after the Reconstruction Acts of 1871. And it's in the corporate bylaws, the United States Code, of what a national is a citizen of the United States, Inc., a corporation.
Yeah, it's in Title 8.
So what you're doing when you're claiming that you're an American state national is that you're a citizen of the defunct bankrupt corporation.
Yep. Where I read
because
about
that's where that
law,
came from. It didn't come from the Law of Nations. Law of Nations defines what a citizen is and what an inhabitant is and what the people are. There's no such thing as national in there.
I'll go back and reread it to double check.
Doesn't exist in
the
there.
Law of Nations. It briefly mentioned national, but it never defined what a national was. It said inhabitant, national. I'll find it. Maybe I've got a
nationality. You talking about nationality?
No, I talked about a national at one point. I'll look it up. Maybe I misread it. Maybe it's a typo. I'll look at it.
I'll have to admit, I haven't read every single last word of Law of Nations, but I've read quite a bit of it. So if you happen to find that in there, I highly doubt it because
I'll share it
under etymology, it didn't even exist until 1878. And the Law of Nations was written in the early 1700s.
Yeah,
long before the word national became.
And this is what I love about Kirk. We're always amicable about agreeing to disagree, or maybe I made a mistake. And when I find the literature that I found, I'll share it with him and we'll have that discussion. So guys, don't be afraid to speak and take everything as constructive criticism, because nobody here is going to ridicule you for trying. We are here for the betterment of mankind, of our society, of our people, of the American people, of furthermore, the people of the world. We must lead by example here. And that's the important part. You know, you'll notice that Kirk and I don't agree on everything. Does that make him right and me wrong? Not necessarily. Does that make him wrong and me right? Not necessarily. This is a discussion to help us grow. That there are times where I plateaued, and in 2017, I was talking to Kirk and walked into the courtroom and handed the judge his ass. Okay? And so I'll be the first one to tell you, and Kirk will agree. I don't know everything there is to know about law. And Kirk will tell you the same thing. I have much more to learn and grow. So what we're speaking of is our firsthand knowledge and experience. Kirk has had many of times where he's been before a body of politic, locally, county, state, city boards, Congress. He's been there already. Yep. He's not preaching something that he dreams of someday. He's already done this shit. He's been arrested countless times for doing what is actually articulated in the Constitution. And they go, sir, put your hands behind your back. You're disrupting our meeting. And he's like, no, the Constitution says you can't limit my ability of free speech and what I can and can't say here. And they arrested him. And guess what? All charges dropped. I remember that one. That was funny. They're arresting me. They're well outside the operation of law. They're going to learn. And they did learn. But aside from the semantics that we see that are theatrical with him doing these things, we learn a lot too.
Yeah.
We learn that we're going to get resistance. They're going to push back. But that doesn't matter, because it's incumbent upon us to stand for what's true, correct, accurate, not misleading. If we're wrong, they have a duty to show us where we're wrong and to point it out. Here is where you made a fault. Great. I'll correct it. I'll see you here in a month. All right. Go ahead. Next question.
Yep. All right. Well, let's. We got Eric up here. Go ahead, Eric. Oh, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, that was the question. It was basically what you said earlier in the chat.
Okay.
It was to help in either petitioner or however we can help here in New Mexico. So if there's a group of us, great. That's all it was for, to help, and also in that petition.
And again, that petition's for everybody in all 50 states, by the way.
Yeah, this particular petition is going to Congress. So anybody in any...
Yeah, the one for Congress, and then also the one for New Mexico if you needed help out.
Yeah. So here's what we're going to do on that is I'm going to have to vet you, right? See what you got going on over there. And again, you're going to have to learn how to do this, because I can't hold your hand when you go in to talk on the petition to the state legislature. Okay, so you're all gonna, whoever wants to be the petitioner in your particular state, you're gonna have to know this stuff. And I know that's kind of a deterrent for a lot of people because they don't want to take the time to sit down and read and learn. But this is where we're at, folks. We, the people, have to come together. We got to do this stuff. Knowledge is power. If you don't have the knowledge, we ain't got no power. How are you going to wield the power if you don't have the knowledge?
My people shall suffer for their lack of knowledge, which means
people
suffering
shall perish
is voluntary.
for lack of knowledge.
Yep.
Or shall
Suffering
be destroyed for lack of
voluntary.
knowledge.
We have to take the initiative. That means turning off Monday Night Football and getting your nose in a book for just 15 fucking minutes.
It's part of the reason why I did Monday Night Law. You got to make a choice, folks. Do you want to be entertained or do you want to learn? It's our republic if we can keep it. And I can tell you right now, that sucker's starting to swirl around in the toilet bowl. We don't do something here real soon, there's going to be some serious mess going on. Anything that we can do right now to kind of stop this invasion and stop what's coming, it'd be a whole lot better off for the rest of us.
Yep.
Just saying.
The time is now. We can't slough this burden off to our offspring. It's incredulous to think, oh, we'll just let the next generation deal with it. I, for one, will not fucking stand for that. We have to change our mentality and our priorities. And it has to happen fucking swiftly. So, and I don't think anybody that's on this call doesn't feel the same way or you wouldn't be here. So share this with your friends and your family. Share the acquired knowledge that you're gaining here today. If you see a flaw, point it out. We're not perfect.
Yeah. I mean, make sure you present your evidence.
Right. We must be...
Because I bring mine. I'll bring sources of law, and you're going to have to bring something that's higher than my sources of law. Good luck.
So, with that being said, is there any other questions out there? Because I know Kirk's got an abundance of work to do. He and I have to get together this weekend. My wife, bless her heart, stayed up 14 hours to make sure that, DocuSign and everything would work flawlessly. She's got more work to do. So I don't want to tie up Kirk's time. Is there any questions that pertain to the subject matter for this meeting today?
All right. Steve, I don't know if you posted your question down in here in chat or not, but
let's make sure we're subject specific and on topic. Steve, go ahead.
Go ahead, Steve.
You have to unmute yourself, buddy.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering, I asked my question. I'm not a registered voter. Can I help out with anything, even though I'm unregistered? I'll
reiterate this again, folks. You have to be a minimum of a registered voter in order to sign this petition. That's how you declare yourself as a resident of your territory and claim your right to political power. I know Derek may not agree with this, but I'm the one that's doing this, and I know exactly what's going on here. Again, choose your battles about being a registered voter. But this is where we're at right now until we actually reassemble government de jure. That's what, when we register to vote, we're declaring that we're a resident, still a free inhabitant, but one of the people having political rights. Not everybody has political rights. Okay?
For example, people in Puerto Rico don't have the political right of voting. Is kind of what he's pointing out. It's a territorial issue. Mm-hmm. And Puerto Rico has tried to force their ability to be able to vote. And the Supreme Court has continually handed down that Congress didn't have the authority to grant them the ability to vote. And the judiciary is not going to supersede Congress in granting them the ability because it's not delegated authority to the Congress to allow them to. So I see his position on one end, and on the other end, I also see that if you were born in America, you were a native to a state, prior to the Reorganization Act. People didn't register to vote. They went down there and said, hey, I'm from whatever county, Missouri, and I'm casting my ballot. There is no voter. Nobody IDs anybody to vote. That's what's fucking insane
Okay.
about this. Dead people from 100 years ago voted in this
Yeah.
last election. I'm like, fuck me running, Bob.
Okay.
So I agree with Kirk.
Hold
and
on
the
here.
other
I got a comment
juxtaposition.
over here that says you have to be a self-claims 14th Amendment voluntary servitude citizen to sign the petition. That is false. It's not what I'm saying. Okay? I'm going off of Law of Nations. Book 1, Chapter 19, subsection 213. Go read it and educate yourself. Okay?
And
real law
if the-
stuff. That 14th Amendment garbage, it says persons. I am man, creation of God, not a
And here's
person. Person are fictions. And just so everybody's aware, the original, or the fake 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, it was for the freed Negro slaves, supposedly. And then
There were
further
only
research
3/4 of
found
a
that,
man.
hold on, please.
Yep,
Further
go ahead.
research found that the person that's referred to in there is corporations. So it wouldn't even apply today. Aside from the Reconstruction Acts of 1871, if you go to national-assembly.net, has been voided. So you don't know what you're talking about. Again,
And
come
this
on,
could be
people.
grounds for
Learn.
another petition. If you have questions about that, guess what? There's another petition. There's another
Well,
one.
some of this stuff's already been taken down. People just don't realize, the United States Inc. was involuntary bankrupted, void. Go look at Google Maps and go look for DC. It doesn't exist on Google Maps no more. Why? Because DC is District of Columbia. That was actually created in 1789. For those that
Oil
are not
for the
aware
crown.
and think that it was 1871, it was 1789 when District of Columbia was created. So, it's all gone. We don't have a president. We don't have any of that stuff anymore because the corporation is bankrupt, insolvent, it's gone.
Being
Okay.
liquidated.
What we have right now is martial law, whether people realize that or not. Again, we are at war. Our Executive Order 13818. This is a World War Executive Order for those involved in serious human rights abuse and corruption.
And it's a war that to the likes that people have never seen before. It's a 5th generation new type of war. And they're all talking about
Yeah.
it, but nobody's listening. It's not guns, bullets, and bombs, people. This is a spiritual war. This is a war to the magnitude that nobody's ever seen the likes of, and it's never been recorded in human history before. We've got to do something, and I see that Kirk has a simplistic, eloquent plan derived straight from the Constitution. And so, with that said, is there another question?
Well, let's go with Thomas here. What do you? Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to make a point that for anybody wanting to support you who cannot use credit cards or Zelle or whatever you're using Patreon, please consider sending you a contribution and a gift by sending it to your Kirk Law Corner at 6477 West Fairview Avenue, Suite C, Boise, Idaho 83704, which I will be doing in the day. That's all I had to say. It wasn't a question, sorry. I just wanted to make a statement so everybody on here knows where they could send a United States Postal Service money order. When you are ready to go to DC, my friend was there a few months ago and he said the hotels are just outrageous, $300 a night for not a free bed, but it's still an okay hotel. And then if you travel by automobile with the gas prices, you're looking at probably $1,200 one way to get from Idaho to DC, and then 3 days of minimum hotels. So, you're talking considerable funds. So I just want to make that out there. Okay? Thank you so much, Bruce.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Thomas.
Thomas.
Good to hear from you,
For the-
brother. Sorry I haven't been able to call you back. Been busy,
those
busy,
that-
busy.
All right.
For those that couldn't hear Thomas, he was articulating how you can contribute prior to the donations and contribution page set up on Kirk's Law Corner. You could do it via United States Postal Money Order. And that's a very valid and relevant point, Thomas, and we appreciate you for bringing that up. I'm only reiterating it because your voice is a little soft. I understand you're probably out there in the sticks and hard at work. So, again, Kirk, if you wouldn't mind sharing that address, and you can send a contribution via United States Postal Money Order.
Yeah, postal
And,
money order, regular money order, cash, wrapped in aluminum foil, gold, silver, coinage. I don't
Whatever.
do any digital currency, so
And I've been with Kirk for a long time. I mean, his devotion is sincere. This is not something he takes lightly. This isn't for political profit and gains. He's not a politician. He's not over here blowing shit up your pant leg, hoping to God you never catch a whiff of the smell. He's honestly in it with his heart of hearts, with a duty, with the honor of the Marine Corps behind him, and his oath, his sacred honor and oath
yep.
for this nation, for this country, for the people here. And
If-
furthermore, to lead by example for the rest of the people around the world. That was the greatest experiment, was America. And when they realized that we could do it on our own, it threatened every other oligarchy. It threatened all the dictators, and they had to find a way to overcome it, to say, see, you need us, we don't need you. And that's why they're hell-bent on destroying America, because we're leading by example, people.
Mhm.
So let's pull together, let's support and help one another. Again, we don't know everything there is to know, but I see something here that is remarkable, that Kirk has spent years and years gathering the acquired knowledge, and he's very fluent and less brash than I am. And I think he's a wonderful spokesman for all of us from all 50 states of the Union of States under the Articles of Confederation and the Bill of Rights to go speak to Congress with firsthand perfected knowledge. So let's assist him where we can, make sure he's got food in his belly and his mind is set right, and he can execute this. And with his perseverance in this matter, it should give everybody else the opportunity to see that if Kirk can do it, so can you. Nothing is stopping you except for you at this point. So again, you can send a postal United States money order for whatever denomination to 6477 West Fairview Avenue, Suite C, Boise, Idaho, 83704. And the name on the postal money order would be Kirk Pendergrass. And I don't want to slaughter it, spelling it. So if you wouldn't mind spelling that last name for us, Kirk, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yep. Pen, D-E-R, grass, G-R-A-S-S, Pendergrass. So yeah, make sure if you're doing any kind of a postal money order or even a personal check to Pendergrass and Captain Kirk, K-R-K.
And come Monday or Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, come hell or high water, we're going to bust our hump to get this on his website so people can start signing this petition.
Mm-hmm.
Time is of the essence here. So anything else in closing?
Let's go with this FIP Enterprises. Go ahead.
Hi, Kirk. My name is Mike.
Hi, Mike.
From Michigan. Derek, good to hear your voice again.
Pleasure, brother Mike. How are you?
Oh, living the dream.
Wonderful, wonderful. Anything that pertains to the direct petition here, good sir?
Yeah, I got on here a bit late. I just got back from a funeral. So I don't know or heard everything, but just a quick curiosity question. In these petitions, are you addressing or forcing to address whether or not they are de jure in accordance with Norton v. Shelby County of 1886?
No, I'm not doing any case law and I'm not doing any code. This is straight from the supreme law of the land, what the duties of Congress is to perform, pursuant to Article 4, Section 4 and Article 1, Section 8, to declare war for foreign invasion and to call forth the militia to defend the borders, to shut down the borders, shut down the human trafficking of men, women, and children, and to stop the fentanyl.
And it's not just the militia, it's also the National Guard as well, correct? It's by all means necessary.
That's what that would be.
That's
That's the three parts of the militia. The The organized militia, state and federal, is two parts. So that's federal militia is the military, the Army and the Navy. And then your state militia is the Army, the land forces, which is the governor or commander-in-chief is the proper term. And then the unorganized portion of the militia, there's two parts to the unorganized portion, which is unorganized by government. One part is 18 or 17 to 45 for the draft, and the other part is 17 to 64, or every able-bodied male.
Amen.
That is mandatory, duty-bound, to be in the unorganized portion of the militia to defend this nation called America. Okay?
This is just one of many petitions to come, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
We
Thank
will
you.
not accept defeat on this issue. If we have to restructure, so be it. We have to restructure the petition, so be it. But it's so simple, so clear and concise that if they refute, rebuke, or otherwise determine that they're not going to execute their fiduciary duties, we will escalate this to the executive branch. All right?
Yep.
Trying to resolve this peacefully. They're selling the wall that we have already paid for to be erected. They're welding open the fucking doors, for fuck's sake.
Well, then they're even like taking some of it down.
Mexico's offering to pay for the motherfucker now. Wonder why that is.
Some of the
Once
some
they
of the
let him in,
spots down
we
there.
don't want them back, so let's build a wall.
Yeah, some of the spots down there where Jonathan and his team goes is places where they've tore down certain sections of the wall, and like he's got some pictures on there where they have little gates in there. They've opened up the gates and welded them open. And then he just had a video up floating around out here on Facebook just 2 days ago of some guys over there cutting the razor wire, pulling it back, and pulling them up in there. No, what? See, that's aiding and abetting in the foreign invasion. You know, this stuff needs to be shut down following due process of law, which is what I'm here doing, is presenting this petition pursuant to Article 4, Section 4, exactly how it's written, and citing what the duties are to perform under Article 1, Section 8. Again, no case law, no United States Code. This is all supreme law of the land. Don't need any of that stuff.
Amen.
Okay?
Amen
This is
to
real
that.
law stuff.
It's cut, simple,
Not
dry,
color of law.
clear as a bell.
Short and sweet.
And that's why I got behind it. When I saw what he was doing, I said, "Oh fuck, we got to rally the troops. We got to rally the American people. It's time to put up or shut up. Either enjoy the misery that's about to unfold or stand up and do something about it." I'm really looking forward to this. Anything else, guys? Any other questions? Kirk, you want to put that petition on the screen one more time so they can really see it again?
Yeah, there's a simple question out here supposedly about where do we send this stuff, and like I said, don't worry about it. Okay, you're not the one doing it.
Well,
but I'll answer the question. It's can be mailed to the clerk of the court or clerk of the House, clerk of the Senate, depending on which side you want. Well, like this one would be a joint resolution, so it wouldn't really matter. But the other part is if you read the history of the right and read Lex Parliamentary Americana and read Mason's Manual of Legislative Procedure, petitioners have the right to present their own petitions. But there again, you'd have to read and learn about your right so you would actually answer your own question. But I get that not everybody reads and not everybody knows their rights, so I apologize if it's a little bit of condescending there, but you know.
Well, and some people read faulty material too. There's a lot of nonsensical horse shit I'm even guilty of reading, and because I read it, it's got to be true. And later on, through my constituents and other friends in law that have studied, go, yeah, you read a bad book there, brother. Let me show you where it's at. So, you know, I understand and can appreciate the question. That was a good question. There's no stupid questions here. It was a good one.
Well, that's true-ish. Like, do I have to hit my thumb with a hammer to know that it's going to hurt?
Yeah. Kirk is going to step up and make sure it gets to the right procedural clerk. And as he expressed to you, it's going to go to the clerk of the House. And, you know, there's procedural procedural rules that must be followed there, and he's going to do his due diligence. And that's why the contributions help Kirk out so much, because he's balls deep in these books day and night, ladies and gentlemen. And I have a fond appreciation for that, because it takes a lot of tenacity to do what he's done all these years. And keep in mind, Kirk's Law Corner isn't the first thing he was involved in. There was also E-Clause as well, who went before Congress and said, hey, look, lawyers don't have an exclusive right to monopolize the industry of justice, period.
Challenging the bar is a monopoly, and you can't license the practice of law.
So this is not his first rodeo, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I've known Kirk since about 2016, 2017. We've had some very heated, heavy discussions. Our hearts are in this. There's times that our attitudes flare and our tempers and we're yelling, but at the end of the day, we both agree on this wholeheartedly. If we don't do something, we're fucked. And he goes, I agree.
And our direction and our aim is in the same direction. And
the same direction.
We're both trying to achieve the same goal here: shut down the corruption. So no matter what we agree or disagree on, it's still focused in the same direction.
Amen. Amen. So it's where the heart is. It's the intent. It's the spirit.
Yep.
It's the sound doctrines and principles that we strive to ascend to be able to do this proficiently and execute the good works of the Heavenly Father by leading his people not astray, but to the source, so they can stand on their square. And thank God for Kirk and everybody else on here who has the mental fortitude to stand up and sound off like a God-a-pair, because damn it, that's what it's gonna fucking take. That's what's
where
gonna
are all
take.
the men at? I'm starting to see more and more women out there standing up than men, and it's like, I don't really care that women are standing up. I'm making the comparison that there's more women than there's men.
Well, it's like in Mexico, when the women finally got tired of the corruption and the cartels and the government, the women said, guess what? You get no cookie and you get no pie until you get rid of these fuckers. And it works.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
And so when the women have had enough, guess what? Men will grab their set of nuts and stand up, because we love cookies, and fucking Lord knows we love pie. So, that's what it takes in society most often, is for the women to say, guess what? I'm not doing your fucking dirty chonies anymore. I'm not doing your laundry. I'm not making you no damn sandwich. You get your own fucking beer. I'm not doing it until you get outside and clean up this bullshit out there. And so we love you women. And it's our duty, and we're honored to fulfill that duty in protecting you and our offspring. That's all. It's incumbent upon us to do that. We're supposed to sell our cloak and buy our saber, our sword, and protect this great land. And so, Kirk, I appreciate you coming on, brother. I know you got work to do. Lord knows I got work to do.
Yeah.
We're going to be in constant contact over this weekend. By Monday or Tuesday, have something ready for everybody to go. I don't want to tie up your time. There is an opportunity for you yet today to possibly get a document notarized after being amended. I implore everybody to read this before you sign it. Read it and understand it, damn it. But if you're asked a question about it, you can explain it. It's time to take this country back, ladies and gentlemen, and there's never been a better time than right fucking now.
Yep.
With that said, I love you guys.
I've done a couple of videos on the right to petition the legislature for the redress of grievances directly from Lex Parliamentary Americana and Mason's Manual Legislative Procedure. So you might want to go watch those.
Where can they find those?
Either out on my Rumble channel or my YouTube channel are the two main ones that will have those in the educational series over there on YouTube, or my Facebook page. On YouTube, I've actually added a couple more in there in the playlist, educational series playlist there. Two of them are directly from the Law of Nations on the laws of nature. Imagine that. At the root of all laws, the laws of nature. We need to learn that body of law that even the Declaration of Independence refers to, the laws of nature. And even the Constitution itself refers to the law of nations. So, these are bodies of law that need to be read and fully understood, stand in agreement that that's actually the law, before we even get to a constitution. Okay? Like Hale versus Henkel says, that our rights are long antecedent to the formation of the state. We have
That's
no
right.
duty to open up our books and papers on suit of the state or even our neighbor. We own no duty to them.
That's why
So-
I often tell people, Kirk, that people go, well, the 14th Amendment is where due process is. I go, no. Due process of law is long antecedent to any fucking parchment or ink ever placed on a piece of paper.
That's right.
It has always been your unalienable
It's
right.
from the
due
common
process of
law. The law that's
So-
common to all mankind. Read
All right,
treatise
buddy,
on arrest
with
and
that-
false imprisonment.
With that said, I've got a couple calls I've got to make.
Okay.
And I think this is a great video, a great opportunity. I want to thank you for your time, your service to this great country, and don't misconstrue that. It's not because he took an oath as a Marine. His service to his fellow countrymen is dedicating his life and his time day in and day out to bring forward this valuable knowledge. And not only that, but to act upon it. Most people will gain this knowledge and never do a fucking thing with it. And I commend you for putting your nuts out there and risking your life to do what 95 fucking percent of people won't ever do. So I'm with you 110%. And if you need somebody to go down to fucking Washington, D.C. and beat the shit out of jackals, I'm there. I'm on. I'm in it.
Well,
So-
I might need a little protection when this goes
I
down.
would say so. And I'm more than willing to go down there and fuck some people up.
So
I'll bring a rope.
more than welcome. Of course, I'll be very selective in who I have my six, but yes, thank you very much, and thank you all for tuning in. And again, I'll probably back out once I get this up on the website. We'll probably come back together and do another quick Zoom and go through all of the steps visually, so people can see where to go on the website, what to click on, and how to sign this petition. Okay, folks. So we were hoping to have that done today, but things didn't work out. So
Heavenly Father didn't want it to happen today, so it's meant to be on Monday or Tuesday. That's just what it is, brother.
all right,
So we know you're hard at it.
we will
I'll be
get
in
there.
contact.
we
yes,
will make
yes,
it happen. All right.
Damn straight. So, all right, guys, thank
God
you
bless.
for joining us. Again, check out kirkslawcorner.com. If you want to send some contributions, whatever, via the mail. The address has been provided. Go rewatch the video, check the chat. He's got this
on the
uploaded
website.
on his website, so you can go revisit it. Share it with your friends and your family. There's never been a better time to take action. We're talking about peaceful resolution and resolve, which is better than the alternative. Kirk is not a stranger to seeing battle and to seeing things that most people couldn't stomach. And he, of all people, understands that is not the direction any of us wish to go. So let's attempt to help him in his journey of petitioning Congress. It's incumbent upon us to take action and take action now. All right. So we love
Yep.
you guys. We'll talk soon. Kirk and I will be back on when it's all set up after this weekend, and we'll do another live stream, and he'll have the deal open, and he can actually watch it in real time. People signing. You can sign while we're live. So with that, we bid you guys farewell. God bless. We'll see you at Monday or Tuesday. Remember, this isn't goodbye. It's just until next time, guys.
All right. God bless. God bless America.